you said you were taking her and picking her up. How's that possible?
Right, I take her to, I'm late for work every single day. I take her to school at 7 a.m. and she goes into the safety program, and then I pick her up after work from safety.
So the answer is you use safety?
Yes, unless I get off earlier than expected. I have that as a backup in case I get off later than expected.
How would you classify your relationship with Kristen?
Now rocky.
Do you blame her?
No. No. I think that she needs to get help instead of trying to blame everybody else for every
Thank you. Move to strike goes beyond the question.
Just responding to the question, Your Honor.
Not the rest of it. So I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Do you think Nicole needs both her mother and her father?
I do.
Do you think Nicole should have a good relationship with all of her siblings?
I do.
I'll pass the witness.
I have no further questions. Thank you, Greg.
Well, what if I have some?
Oh, sorry. It was just a thank you. It wasn't a thank you, your excuse. It was just thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Good, come
I'd like to
back.
express my thanks.
You talked about prior to you filing the paperwork, Mom wasn't necessarily allowing you to see the child. Was there any portions of the year that was more likely that she refused, or was it just if you waited to the last minute and she had already made plans?
I know that they're pretty adamant on Christmas with her family,
Okay.
so that would be an example.
What-
Other times, if we were not getting along very well.
Did you get to spend Christmas time with her prior to you filing this action?
Usually it's like late at night or the day after.
But as far, what about Christmas Eve? Did you get any Christmas Eves with her?
No.
What about Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, yes.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Father's Days?
Yes.
Did you spend any Mother's Days with her? I'm just joking. Did you give Mom timely notice on when you really wanted to see her? Did you try to work with her to get a schedule set up in advance? Or did you just say, hey, I'd like to have her next weekend because, I want to go fishing?
There wasn't really a set schedule at the time, yeah.
Did you ever attempt to work with her to get a set schedule?
No.
Did you ask her for a set schedule?
No.
Okay.
I didn't
Alright.
feel that I had the rights to do that at that time.
Okay.
Legally.
All right. All right, thank you. Unless there's any other questions that my questions brought up.
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, at this time we would rest.
Okay. Your
I'm going to
turn.
call Kristen Maxwell.
Okay.
Okay.
Raise your right hand.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
How you doing today, Kristen?
Pretty good.
As you can tell, I always start with that. Okay? Are you nervous?
Yeah, of course.
Kristen, prior to this case being opened, where did Nicole live?
With me
For how long?
for the whole life.
How many years is that?
7.
Okay.
Over 7.
And did Greg play an active role in
Yeah.
Nicole's life?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever intentionally block his access to Nicole?
No.
Were there ever times that you said, I can't do that, I've already made plans?
Yes.
Did that ever lead to issues?
No. Maybe like exchanging words, but never a big issue, ever.
Okay. You heard him testify that Christmas was always an issue.
No.
What was the practice that you guys followed?
We had a thing we did every year. I gave him all of Thanksgiving week usually. He would go camping with his parents and have her the whole weekend Thanksgiving. I never had her at Thanksgiving. And then all I asked for in exchange was Christmas morning. So he would get her Christmas Eve until 6 p.m. or later, drop her off. And then he'd pick her back up in the morning around 10 or noon on Christmas Day and keep her with his family to have dinner until about 5 or 6, and then drop her off at my parents' house where we would do our family dinner.
Where do you currently reside?
4901 Apple Lane, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89108.
Where's that located?
Washington and Decatur.
Have you had issues with your home?
When we first moved in, the paint that they did, you can see all the dirt coming through the paint. And there's layers and layers and layers of paint. And then our AC would freeze up, so the owner called in his AC guy who went to clean the coils, and it was about that thick of just buildup. He said it had to have been years since those coils had been cleaned.
So one of the assertions that came out during the pendency of this case was an assertion that you are currently using drugs. Are you currently using drugs?
No.
Okay. Is it your belief as you sit here today that the patch results were accurate?
No.
Okay. What is your belief of how those patches were showing negative or showing positive for men?
At first, I thought maybe he put something in my drink because I had gone to his house. That was the first patch I got back positive. And then you just start wondering and wondering, and I started researching and researching and researching. And that's when I started thinking that it could be the house. I don't know, like I didn't know.
Okay.
I honestly have no clue.
So, if at the end of this day the court has concerns that your house is the issue and is unsafe for Nicole, what are you going to do?
Pack up and move to my mom's.
And you're willing to do that?
Yeah, she's got plenty of room. I mean, I don't want to leave my house. I actually like my house, but sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry, I'm sitting here. She thinks a house is causing it, and yet she didn't move out and then go back on the patch program to see if that works.
I can't move. I mean, now I'll move in with my mom. My dad died, and that's my house. I wasn't.
Your house is more important than your kid.
No, I wasn't sure until I started talking to my expert witness to test the house, and that's when we tested the house.
And
That's when it came back positive, and he told me that that doesn't necessarily mean it's at an unsafe level, and we needed to do paint scrapings.
okay, and then is this the part where it covers when you told, I don't remember if it was CPS or if it was Options or somebody, that it's the people that's in your house currently that cause it, your boyfriend and your brother, that's creating the permeation of meth that would cause you to test dirty.
I don't have a brother. I don't have a brother. That wasn't me. I never said that to her, ever.
Continue.
Has it ever been your desire or intent to diminish or to keep Greg out of Nicole's life?
No, he could be with her as much as he wanted.
How would you describe the relationship between you and Greg presently?
It's awful. It's awful.
Why?
We can't, anything that I want for Nicole, any extracurricular or doctor's appointment or anything I want to do for Nicole is a no, right away from him.
Can you give a specific example?
Yeah, so I wanted her to do cheer camp, because I had put her prior to this, I put her in a competitive cheer team. And then when we got the split custody, I wanted to put her in cheer camp for the competitive cheer team, because I wanted her to be able to get a back handspring so she could try out for her school's team and make it. And we had already paid for cheer camp, it was paid for, everything was a go, he had already agreed to it, and then when it came down to it, it was, no, she's not going to cheer camp during my time. It's not convenient for me, and he wouldn't let her go. I have more examples too. if you want.
Okay, what
Okay. Her teeth. She had the silver caps done while she was with me. She got this bump, and I've never had a cavity, so I didn't know what it was. But she had this bump on her gum, and I was concerned about it. And that was when we had the split custody. And I asked him, can I, they made her a doctor's appointment at this time. Can she go to the dentist? No, that's during my time. It's not convenient for me. I asked him, I kept asking him over and over and over. She needs to go, she needs to go. I finally had to take her to the ER during my 4 hours on the weekend after I lost all my custody to get her antibiotics because the dentist said she absolutely had to go get that. It was an abscess and she had to go get it looked at. He got mad at me for taking her to the ER, said that that bump wasn't an abscess, that it went away and just came back. I have pictures of it. I mean,
Is there ever a time, actually, let's back up, okay? During the pendency of this case, did you give birth to a baby?
yes,
Where did you give birth?
at Henderson Hospital.
When the baby was born, did they have the usual test, to your knowledge, did she have the usual tests that a baby undergoes?
Yeah, especially because she was born premature. Not because my doctor insisted on having a C-section 3 weeks early.
Okay. Did CPS contact you?
No,
To your knowledge, was there any report to CPS?
no,
Was there any indication of drugs in your system when the baby was born?
no.
Did you say this was a scheduled C-section?
Yeah, because I have a heart condition.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So the doctors, to your knowledge, had no concerns or indication that you were using drugs?
None, and I started getting prenatal care at about 6 weeks pregnant because of my heart. So I was at my doctor's 2 to 3 times a week sometimes.
Other than your heart condition, do you have any other health conditions?
No,
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental health concern?
no. Oh, anxiety. Sorry. Severe anxiety. I got diagnosed after I got my heart condition because I used to have panic attacks about my heart.
Greg raised in his testimony the fact that he never denied the ability to have an assessment for learning disability. Is that accurate?
No.
What happened there?
When she was right before COVID, we were gonna do the 504 meeting at her school. COVID happened, that was first grade, I believe. Then during COVID, her MAP scores, we were still struggling. It was a struggle for me during COVID at home every day to try to get her to understand what they were trying to teach her. So I went ahead and I got a dyslexia assessment with, it's called the Dyslexia and Learning Institute. And it showed that she had a high chance of being dyslexic. So I was told to go to her pediatrician. I got copies for everybody, the school, the pediatrician, her dad, a ton of copies. And when I went to go finish the assessments was right when we got the split custody, when we first showed up here. She only finished the reading assessment, and the math assessment was supposed to be like the week after the split custody happened and during his time. So he wouldn't let her complete that math part of the assessment. He said she didn't need it.
And as you just testified, Nicole has a sibling at your home.
Yeah.
What are you asking the court to do as far as custody?
1 week with mom, 1 week with dad.
Okay.
It's
Is there
what she
anything
wants.
you believe the court should know regarding the court's concerns about drug use?
I mean, I'm not I'm not using. Such a good mom. Nicole had a great. Sorry.
Mom, let me make sure you understand something. I don't doubt you're a good mom. Okay? I do not doubt that part. Alright? So, see if you can calm down a little bit. Why don't we take a couple of minute breaks so I can take care of the tea that I had at lunch?
Okay. I don't know.